Okay. Hey everybody, figure while everyone is staying indoors, staying safe, staying healthy, now might be a fun time to go over one of my favorite subjects in sleight of hand, the palming of playing cards. If you guys know me at all, you know this is a big deal for me, and there have been a lot of insights that I've picked up over the years, small things that made a big difference in terms of pulling it off well, and hopefully they help you. So really all you need is just grab some spare deck, grab a single card, and let's go over it. First insight that I want you to know is that hand size doesn't matter nearly as much as you might think. Naturalness matters more than hand size, right? Obviously, someone with large hands is going to have an easier time hiding an object than someone with small hands. But there are plenty of examples of kids with super small hands or people with very slender fingers that palm better than those of us with big mitts. Dennis Kim, I'm looking at you. But naturalness will cover for a lot of things that you feel incapable of doing. Perfect example, if you know how to do a gambler's cop, that's actually a pretty flashy thing, right? Half the card is sticking out of your hand, but you can pull it off, you can get away with it because it lends itself to the natural curvature of the hand. So we're going to learn the same thing, but with a classic palm. So take a single card, extend your hand out, and then the only thing I want you to do is place this bottom corner against the base of the thumb, right? This knuckle right here, and then hold it in place with the very tip of the pinky, but don't do anything else. Let the hand stay extended and just hold it there. And you're going to notice a couple of things, right? If I took this out and I relaxed my hand, one thing is that there's a natural curvature to the hand. The other thing that most people aren't taught is that this base part of the thumb doesn't jut out, right? If I hold my hand up and just relax it, it is more likely that it moves forward, right? If I hold my hand like this part of my thumb is actually almost parallel to my first finger. But right now it's at a curvature of about 30 degrees off the vertical, okay? If I put an object there and put downward diagonal pressure, it causes it to jut out at about a 45-degree angle. So what I'm going to do is when I go to get the card to sink up into palm, I'm not going to curve these fingers around it like Lego Man. Instead, I'm going to put downward pressure or thumbward pressure from the pinky down here, which causes it to bow up into my hand. But then to compensate for the pressure that now exists against this knuckle, I'm going to do something that you learn more from coin magic, right? From a classic palm and coin magic, which is I'm going to take this knuckle and shove it against my hand and relax there, okay? And that sort of returns everything back to the way your thumb normally forms when you're just relaxing your hand, okay? And then the other thing that I'm going to do is because that bow exists, there's an unintended consequence of that, which is that this part, this diagonal going this way, is now strengthened from downward pressure. Because it's bending in the opposite direction of everything else, there's actually a force going up in the opposite direction, which means these three fingers, which aren't doing anything useful at the moment, can literally just bow that card and then set right on top of there, and then they can just sort of fall against my pinky and just relax on top of that bow. And they're being supported by the card right now. I'm not pressing down, I'm literally just letting the card support them, okay? So if you want to get good at palming, just grab your phone, take a picture of your hand over the top with the card palmed, release the card, relax your hand, and take another picture, and then swipe between the two. And you'll notice all the weird things. That's how I actually learned a lot of this stuff, is just learn to have those two pictures look as close as possible. So these are a couple of the insights that you'd eventually find yourself if you took those two pictures and tried to make one look like the other, okay? But there are two other important things that you need to know, right? Once you get a classic palm, now there are two other things that will help in terms of the execution of it. So the first thing is called a broken palm, right? And it's where you transfer the pressure from the pinky to the first finger, right? And this is what happens when I go to pick up an object. I don't pick it up like a pincer on a robot, right? I don't pick things up like that. Actually, my first finger sets on top of it to stabilize the grip, right? And it turns out that's actually a natural thing for lay people to do. Very rarely do they pick things up with their first finger or with their whole hand. They actually pick it up here, and then the first finger just bows in a natural way, okay? So when you go to pick up an object, when you've got this classic palm, when you pick up an object, your fingers extend, and then the first finger breaks. And the nice part is that from a classic palm, your finger can do the same thing, and it doesn't take away from the palm of the card, right? The card isn't pressed away from your hand, it's further pressed in. So take the pressure away from the pinky and put it on the first finger. And now the card is being held in place by curving these parts, and it does effectively the same thing in terms of that pressure being able to, like, this is now harder to bow because it's not going necessarily in the same direction as this curvature, which means these fingers, which now aren't doing anything, can just relax on top of there. So if I were to pick up an object, right, I'm going to extend these fingers because they're still hiding the card as I extend, and then the second I get near something, I'm going to transfer so that the first finger and the base of the thumb are now holding something, right? And you can relax these fingers. They need to stay together, obviously, to hide the card, but now you've got the object, and this is the important part. The second you let go, transfer back to the pinky and bring this part of your thumb back in, right? Don't leave it out there, right? It's not like that. It's actually closer to here, extend to grab something, and then bring that thumb back in, okay? But that's also the way that you set your hand down. If I were to relax my hand on the table, I don't curve my pinky in, right? The pinky extends, the ring finger extends, the middle finger extends, and then because the thumb hits the table first, it causes this natural bend in the first finger, but that's the same position, right? So when you go to set your hand down after classic palming, set it down and go into this Ackerman style. This, you know, I learned this from Ellen Ackerman. This is my Ackerman style palm. Set your fingers down, and then there's nothing to see. Your hand is in the exact same position it would be if you didn't have anything there, which is a palm, right? And then when I go to lift up, I apply a bit of pressure with the first finger to be able to lift up, and then I transfer immediately to the palm and bring my thumb in, okay? So just get good at transferring that, and remember to bring the base of the thumb back in, okay? And then the final thing that I want to go over is equipments, right? Equipments, right? The word equip, right? Free yourself of something. Equipments are the idea that they're motions and gestures that you make that you would make if you didn't have anything in your hand. Okay, so perfect example. What I'm doing right now, this is an equipment, right? I'm mirroring one hand versus the other, one is empty. And because they're mirroring, that sort of lends to the illusion that there's nothing in this hand either, right? If you pick something up, if you scratch your face, if you drink your coffee, all of those things are equipments, and you want to add to the number of things that you can do with the card palm. That's one of the reasons why we say, you know, take a couple cards and then palm them and see how many things you can do. Don't drive your car or a semi or something, but try to drink your coffee or eat cereal or read a book or whatever, and try to hold the card in place, right? Coin magicians know this like the back of their hand. Card magicians kind of got to learn it secondarily. But as you add to that list, it gives you confidence when you go to perform palm to do card to pocket, or if you're mucking, or if you're doing card to box, or if you need any transposition, anything where the card changes place, the palm becomes exceedingly useful because you have the confidence and the naturalness that lends to it. So I hope that was helpful. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. My username is @LostAngelus, LOST_ANGELUS. And yeah, I hope that was helpful. Thanks to the team at Illusionist for letting me be a guest on their channel. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll talk to you soon.